The following material may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, I hope that makes you happy.
You're happy enough.
What?
I don't think you're happy enough.
Well, you'll be happy to note that I'm broadcasting live from the cultural void of Independence, Ohio. Taking your phone calls. Entertaining your thoughts and ideas on a, I guess, soon-to-be rainy Saturday afternoon. Take it away, big voice man.
The Rick Gilmour Show on News Radio WTAM 1100.
Phone number here, 578-1100 in the 216 area code. Toll free, 888-723-WTAM. Well, I was not privy to listen to Bob Becker heard Saturday mornings from 6 until 9. I assume that he talked about the gunman, Case Western University. There's many aspects to talk about as far as that case goes. Gee, I thought that the university cops would have guns. I'm speaking with folks in the newsroom, and they said, no, they didn't have guns. But the cops at the university didn't have guns. They don't have guns. Shouldn't they have guns? Maybe everybody should have guns. I was talking to a buddy of mine last night, and he says, you know what's going to happen? This was while it was still ongoing. We can talk about the media coverage of it as well. Action News said, only on Action News. Really? Gee, I thought it was on every other station. Except for Channel 43 decided to jump away and go to The Simpsons. I like The Simpsons. And I suppose they have a sister station that they could air the news on. It just seemed to me that there's bound to be some old fuddy-duddy out there that says, what happened? What do you mean? What happened to the news? It's a national story, of course, even made CNN. And he had white pants. No, he had camouflage. He's 52. No, he's 62. He graduated. No, he didn't graduate. He shot his way into the building. No, maybe he kicked his way in. Sheesh. All over the board. Anyway, a buddy of mine says, you know what? This would probably never happen in Arizona. This would probably never happen in Texas. This would probably never happen someplace where you have the right to carry a concealed weapon. Maybe he's right. I was listening to Case Western's radio station yesterday, and of course they're still broadcasting, and they were pretty close to the action. And I heard one of the DJs say, yeah, I've lived in Cleveland my whole life, and I've never heard of anything like this before. And I thought, well, he's obviously pretty young, because this happened at Cleveland State, didn't it, in 1984 or thereabouts? Wasn't somebody shooting up the place? And maybe I'm mistaken. See, I thought back to Frank Spizak. I thought, remember him? He's still on death row. That's another issue. The shooter from yesterday, Biswanath Halder, either he's 52 or 62, depending on where you read it, will probably die in prison. I thought Frank Spizak, the guy that had the Hitler fascination back in the late 70s, early 80s, I thought he was shooting up Cleveland State's library. I thought there was another library shooter later. I thought he somehow had a tie to Cleveland State, but I tried looking into it, and I couldn't find out, and maybe you remember, and you'll call and refresh my memory. But I went to a website, and there was a picture of Frank Spizak, just for example, a guy charged with murder and on death row for over 20 years. For over 20 years, why don't we just put these people up at the Holiday Inn? Serve them crab Louie 3 times a day. The shooter from yesterday, Biswanath Halder, whether he's 52 or 62, he'll probably die in prison. Yeah, and he had a World War II looking helmet. Or he had camouflage pants, or he was dressed in all black. Or he had white pants. Or he was wearing a wig, or the wig was glued to his helmet. I mean, I understand that when there's an ongoing situation, I guess are all the TV stations trying to climb over each other to try and scoop the news? I'm surprised somebody wasn't flying around in their traffic helicopter saying, it's over, it's over. The standoff's over. That's happened before. And it wasn't over. Dicey situation, I understand that. I'm just curious what you thought if you got a chance to watch it on the television. It was wall-to-wall, baby, wasn't it? Except for the Simpsons on one station. And, of course, the Frog, that station that... I can judge a little TV station by the fact that all they do is promo themselves in commercial breaks. You can't make any money doing that. And then tonight on Gilmore Girls, well, you're not making a dime promoing yourself. You got to have some commercials in there. So the lesser station, they covered the regular programming, but everybody else was wall-to-wall on this. It was funny because I watched it at home a little bit, and I went out to a restaurant and watched it there. And I stopped off at a watering hole and watched it there. Well, luckily, they had the Indians game on a couple of the TVs. And one of the TV stations kept airing, it said, breaking news. And there's a sale at Penny's. But there was no breaking news. There was no nothing new. It just says breaking news. Well, fix it already if it's broken, damn it. Just curious on your thoughts. Mike, you're on the air.
Hello.
Howdy.
I have a big problem with the media. I cannot believe it took me to 2 hours ago on your station to find out finally how old the guy was and what his name was. It took, in 1963, it took him 6 minutes to find out Lee Harvey Oswald's name and everything. Here we can't find some guy. I was just upset about that because I want to bet anybody that this guy is not from Cleveland. Have you found any word on that yet?
Well, here's the AP Wire story, and I'll read it for you. Police are identifying the gunman who killed one person and injured others at a Cleveland university as Biswanath Halder. Authorities say Halder is a 52. Now, I've heard 62 bandied about as well. 52-year-old Cleveland resident who had received his master's degree from Case Western Reserve University in 1999. Police say Halder wandered through the halls of the school's Peter B. Lewis building and fired hundreds of rounds of ammunition before being captured 7 hours later. About 70 people trapped inside the building for hours, hiding in offices, classrooms, closets. University President Edward Hundert says Halder was a former university employee who had filed a lawsuit against the university, and the lawsuit had been dismissed. But yeah, it took an awful long time for that information to come out.
Right, so I was thinking possibly they were holding one of the administrators hostage or something, because they were so... I drove a cab. I was driving a cab, and yesterday, exactly at 4 o'clock, I was picking up at the Institute of Art, which is basically across the street from this place. And, nothing obvious. I didn't see anything. I just picked up my lady, and I went up to University Heights with her. And then I hear this thing went down around 4. And, God, it sure seems to me that I saw this guy walking down. Did they say that he had camouflage cover on or anything?
They said he had... camouflage pants. Then they said, some folks said that he had black pants. Other folks said he had white pants. All they agreed upon was he was carrying a backpack.
Right, because this wacko walked right by me and this woman at 4 o'clock. And probably had to be, I don't have the exact time, but it had to be like 10 to 4, and it was right in front of the Institute of Art. And I even moved my cab back because he was walking like a madman. He was just like walking right by me. I didn't think nothing of it. Half the people I look in downtown Cleveland walk like that. But this guy just marched right by me, and the only reason I noticed this because he was the only guy on the street. The Institute of Art is a sort of a building by itself.
Okay, so...
He marched right by me at about 10 to 4, 5 to 4, and my witness would be the lady. It doesn't mean anything, but he did go right by me then. That's the guy, because I was driving the cab today and picked the lady up at the Institute of Art, and this guy went right by me, didn't even look at me or nothing, and I moved my cab back, because I was still in my cab, and I just backed up so he could go through the crosswalk, and he was just like relentless. That was the guy. I love to...
let me ask you a question then. If you think you saw the guy, what did he look like? What was he dressed like?
He had like a hood on. He had a hood on, the camouflaged, I believe it was camouflage trousers, and he looked like he was carrying a violin, and that's all it was. Or it was no gun. I would have seen a gun, but they're saying that he marched in with the gun. What did he just? I don't understand. He must have had it in the case then or something. So it's just what I saw. Me and I had this lady from Switzerland, and she was visiting her brother, and that was the story. But he marched right by me, and she was sitting on a big brick thing that sits out in front of the Institute of Art.
She was a Swiss lady?
Me? She was from Switzerland, yeah.
Was she a nice little lady?
A beautiful young lady. She was about 27, really good-looking woman. One of the professional students. They never get a job. They just seem to be students for their whole life. You know what I'm saying? Now she's working on her some kind of a after master's degree. And I asked her, well, are you going to end up working ever? She goes, well, I'm not sure yet. Well, what? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that's another story and stuff. Anyway, I just wanted to call Rick to find out any information on this guy, because that's, I mean, I really did. I think I did see the guy. I think that was him that went right by him, because it was around 10 to 4. And it blew my mind when I heard it, when I was driving to say, I was thinking, my God, I wonder if this is the guy, because he just was relentless. But I couldn't get no information on this. Because I've been doing this for 25 years, and the guy was acting odd. That's all I can say. He was like on a mission. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what the hell? And that's the only reason I noticed the guy. That's the only reason. Anyway, thanks, buddy.
All right, you're more than welcome. Well, you probably did see him. I don't know how many people walk down the street with a hood on and camouflage pants and look like they're carrying a violin. He sounded honest enough, didn't he? I don't think he sounded like he was making that up. And they did have a witness that said that she saw someone that looked like they were carrying, it wasn't a gun, but it was something black and funny looking. And I'm thinking, well, I played the violin. I learned from Sasha Dubinsky, the wonderful one-armed violinist. It's impossible! It is possible. How he held the bow was another story. More of your phone calls after these important words on The Big One.
Rick Gilmore.
You poked the thing through or you didn't poke the thing through, okay? Poke.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
It's Rick Gilmore, M.D., media darling or doctor of broadcasting. Gee, I think I put enough questions on the table for 3 shows. What'd you think about the media coverage? Now, see, I have an updated AP wire that now says that Biswanath Halder is 62. Shouldn't them university cops be able to carry guns? Maybe everybody should be able to carry guns. Maybe we had to put people that do things like this on death row and get rid of them in a timely fashion. A triple Doppler forecast from TV3 forecaster Eileen McShay. Today could be some wild weather. Showers, thunderstorms, high near 80, currently 77 degrees. Tonight, more of the same weather. Rain, thunderstorms, low near 60. Tomorrow, more of the same weather. Showers, thunderstorms, rain in the afternoon, high in the lower 70s. That's another thing the TV does. Break away from anything to tell you that there's rain coming. I'm 41. It always rains here in May, doesn't it? Seems like it. Now, I understand. We're your primary one. Severe weather station will warn you if there's tornadoes and floods and big storms coming, but sometimes TV goes a little overboard. Seems to me some of them stations will break away from anything. Okay, so we got the guy 62 now. That's another thought. What is it, resolve or just insanity? Would you call it resolve or insanity? Who decides they're going to wake up one day and put on a backpack and take a couple guns and tons of ammunition and go into a college and start shooting people, a university? As you're putting on your shoes and you're brushing your teeth and you think, today's the day. Today's the day I go kill, kill, kill. I would have called out, but I can't figure out how to get an outside line. I didn't know I had to dial 9. And that was probably a mistake, too. How many prank phone calls you think they got to that phone number? It's me! I'm not coming out! Click. It's like the Amber Alert on a telephone or something. I would think if the guy was walking around with all those guns, maybe he'd have a cell phone or something, and I mean, couldn't they? I don't know. Isn't there some other way to do that? Jeff, you're on the air.
Hey, good afternoon, Gilmore. How are you?
All right. You sound a little muddy. Are you talking on a speakerphone or something?
No. Is that better?
Yeah, talking the part with the little holes in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to comment on the media coverage of what happened yesterday, but before I do, I heard you chide Channel 55 because they promote themselves. You know, the best thing about television is cable television because you can watch commercial-free television. Personally, I hate commercials, and even on radio or television, when they come on the radio, I switch to another station until I think it's gone off, and then go back to the station. And the cable television, like I said, you can watch it commercial-free. But I think for events like yesterday, and no pun on words intended, but I think the media tends to go overkill on it. if there is nothing going on at the time, then I don't think we have to see, as you said, the wall-to-wall coverage, because most of the time all you get is these talking heads that are on there giving their opinion, and really, who really cares about what they think or what they have to say? If there is something that is actually taking place at that time, or there's a break in the story, then you can break from regular broadcasting and go back to it. But to have it on continuously for 7 hours, and basically all you do is you see the police standing around and you see the reporters standing around talking and giving their opinion and going back and forth, quite frankly, that's boring. And
well, I think what they're doing is they're clamoring over each other, trying to get ratings, and they all want to be the first one there for when the story breaks.
Right. Well, the one thing I will commend Channel 3 last night, at least they did not break from their regular television programming last night. They went back to it when there was something of noteworthy to go back to. But, just staying there for 7 hours to basically just do media overkill was, quite frankly, is very boring. It's not, doesn't make, very informative television. I don't really care to hear what this reporter has to say or what this news anchor thinks, or et cetera, et cetera.
No, I know what you mean. It gets a little repetitive, just like your phone call. It does, and some of these TV stations... Action news. Breaking news. Nicky Mohan's got a hangnail. We interrupt regular program. Jeez, everything's breaking news. Breaking news. Damn it, fix it. Alex, you're on the air.
How you doing?
All right.
I'm a law student at CSU, and I've witnessed some crazy things down there, and I just wanted to comment on the way campus police are from what I've taken around the city here.
Okay.
And, I'll tell you, one day I was studying late one night. It's like 11 o'clock, and around CSU, around that time of night, it's really not the best place to be outside, I'll just say. And there's a young student. He's driving his car outside, and I guess a bum stuck his hand in there and tried to rob him. So he drives along, holding on to the bum, lets him go, and chases him into the law school. The guy comes into law school, and I'm trying to help the guy find the bum that was trying to rob him. And, we're waiting for police. It took them 15 minutes to get there. And, it's not that big of a campus where you can't come in when there's a phone call. And he called the police immediately.
And what were they doing?
Hell if I know. Maybe eating donuts or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, down at Rascal House or something. I don't know.
Possibly.
I see them driving all over the place downtown. I think, well, why don't you stay on campus?
Precisely. They're armed. They're armed with sidearm, and they got a shotgun in the car. I've seen them. So I know the ones at CSU are at the very least. So I just find that to be kind of crazy when you're living in a city like Cleveland's a bigger city. You should have police that are armed and are watching what's going on at each building.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Maybe you should have called the real police. I think the real police would probably show up more quickly. A buddy of mine thought somebody had broken into his house. He came home and the door was open, and he called the real police in Cleveland, and they showed up in under 2 minutes, he said. Unbelievable. Under 2 minutes. That's pretty damn good response time, don't you think?
If you're the police, where are your badges? Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
Indians take on the Rangers tonight, 8:05, first pitch. And we usually can beat the Rangers, right? Anaheim, I don't know, maybe we just can't afford to buy championships. Maybe we need to fly in Wayne Huizenga for a season to buy us the sausage. Well, more of your phone calls after important words and coverage of what in the world's happening. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend. This is Cleveland's News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Rick Gilmour.
You get your funky off. I get my funky off. Every red-blooded American gets his funky off.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
In the chair until 6, then you'll get Tribe Talk here. How about another question? I ask an awful lot of questions, don't I? You ask too many questions, Gilmour. I'd like to hear from a cop. You can be anonymous. Police officer call up here. See, why did they wound the guy? Why did they wound Mr. Halder yesterday at Case Western instead of just killing him? I don't get it. Like that case about, remember the ex-cop that killed his wife? Wasn't it his wife and his kid or something like that? Well, at least his wife. Remember the big standoff in Mansfield? And they had 100 bazillion cops there. And they wounded him and crippled him for life. And what's that going to cost to keep that guy in prison forever? We may as well put him up at a Holiday Inn. So why didn't they just kill this guy yesterday? He's 62. What are they going to do? Rehabilitate him? I don't know. See, I'm not a police officer, so I couldn't answer that question.
It's a great question.
Yeah, well, I thought it was. You can be anonymous. Were you instructed? Was that the FBI's idea or whose idea? Do they want to psychoanalyze this guy? What's to psychoanalyze? I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, if you're gonna go into a university armed and try to shoot somebody, well, expect to be killed.
Hello, chérie. All is fair in love and war, eh, darling?
Well, I think so. Dan, you're on the big one.
Rick?
Yes.
How are you?
All right. How are you doing?
I'm doing. Listen, earlier, I don't know if this has been touched on or not, but you posed a question. You said, well, what do people think about the way that the media handled it?
Yes.
One thing comes to mind. These pompous, local, self-indulgent reporters, they're like furniture salesmen. And if there's some furniture salesmen listening, I'm not poking fun at you. I'm talking used car salesman quality. I mean, the only thing that they're talking about is me, our reporters, our people. It was like you said, they're climbing all over each other just to act as if they're the first one on the scenes. And you know what? When I heard you ask what we thought, that's what came to my mind. To be honest with you, it was disgusting.
Yeah, the media coverage was a little interesting. Like I say, everybody wants to be, I guess, the first one there when it breaks. Well, I think whatever station you're on, you're probably stuck on that station anyway.
Well, Denise DeFala, I don't know if I'm supposed to mention names, but, it was her in particular that was just it was just disgusting. Because it was less about what was going on and most about my station, our sources, my people. The word I and me came out so many more times than what was actually going on. They could take a 2-second piece and drag it out 15, 20 seconds because of the repetitive nature of the use of the words myself, our sources,
Here's what I thought was interesting. Did you watch Denise with, I can't think of the guy's name that she was on with, but she dominated. She dominated the conversation. He tried to talk, and she just kept going and going and going as if it's her show when the news is supposed to be for us, me and you, us, to get information.
Well, I believe she's an anchor or something like that on that station, but, hey, it is what it is. I mean, you're absolutely right. They're self-indulgent. They have to do that. That's how she feels important. And you had a caller before, and he talked about some of the national cable news networks. Look at the difference between the quality of our local media coverage, and they're not all that bad. But you look at Fox and CNN and MSNBC, the level of professionalism, you're not even in the same ballpark. Not even close.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you one thing to watch. When you watch somebody, and I don't know what they call it, but when they're in the studio and then they show somebody out on a remote location, when they say thank you, if the guy doesn't say thank you or you're welcome back or all right, bye-bye or talk to you later or see you in the studio, because when you watch the national networks, they don't say anything. When they say thank you, they cut right back to the studio, and that's that. They don't say anything. The people out in the field don't say anything.
You're absolutely right. Well, that was my thought. Hey, always a pleasure.
All right, thanks. Stephanie, you're on the air.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Listen, you know what just threw me off was Jane Campbell's news conference with Stephanie Tubbs-Jones in the background bobbing her head the whole time.
Yeah, I trying to get some space in the camera frame.
Did you see that photo op?
Yes, I did. And whenever I see Jane Campbell now, Lady Jane, the mayor of the great city of Cleveland, do you recall that speech she gave a little while back about trees?
No, I didn't catch that.
She said, we need to do something to get more trees. We need to plant more trees because people like trees. Trees make people happy. It raises the value of your home. So we need more trees. And I thought, you have got to be kidding me.
Now, there's a thought for Jane, huh?
Well, more trees. It's just like when Kucinich was in office. I knew people inside poop, I'll call them, that were in the administration that said he couldn't make a move without Bob Wiseman telling him what to say and what to do. There must be somebody handling Lady Jane to tell her what to say or what not to say. Jeez, can't you do a little better than trees make people happy?
They do. Perhaps it's Stephanie. Stephanie Tubbs Jones is her handler. There was a psychiatrist as well by her side, and Stephanie Tubbs Jones, who had flown in from Washington, from what I understand, to be there because she had attended the university, so she felt it her duty to show up to the conference.
Gee, I'm surprised Dennis didn't show up.
Well, he probably just couldn't get a flight in time, but he would have been there.
Well, he's always popping up everywhere. He's like our local version of Jesse Jackson.
Oh, boy. Well, I can't wait to see what happens with him in this election.
Well, what do you think about this guy yesterday? Do you think the cops should have just killed this guy so that we don't have to put him up in a Holiday Inn for the next 30 years?
I thought that's how they were trained, actually. I wasn't aware that, it was kind of get him and,
take care of the... I don't know.
Yeah,
so, I don't know. I'm not a cop, but hopefully one will call in and tell me. Maybe not this particular scenario, but just in general. One would think, now, maybe they just...
I would think.
Maybe there were...
if he had a weapon and he could have still used it on them, so I would think you would have to go ahead and eliminate him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there were other people around or students or something where they couldn't just get a clean enough shot, but you'd think when they sent... Wasn't the SWAT team that went in there, didn't they say FBI on the back of their coats?
They did,
no,
yes.
I would think that they're highly trained and would know how to go in there, and I've had conversations with people that were SWAT types, and they said, you want to get not the shot to the body. If you can get the shot to right between the eyes, right up there, and you disconnect the electricity, and they drop immediately. Once the electricity is separated from the brain to the heart, you're down, and that's it, and you're done.
Kind of the lights are on, but nobody's there thing.
Well, no, actually, the electricity's out, so the lights are out, too.
Well, maybe they have to be politically correct, our policemen.
No, I don't know.
And, just kind of wound the individual. But I would have liked to have seen it done where they actually eliminated him.
All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate the phone call. What do you think? Real simple. Should they have taken this guy out? If they had the opportunity to take him out, I would have said take him out. But then I don't know. Because like I said, that ex-cop, remember, down there in Mansfield with the standoff. You remember how many cars there were. Remember the aerial shots of that? Wasn't Rick Abel flying around up in Sky Chief? Wasn't he down there, too? Because I was on the air. I was filling in for Bill Wills when that was going on. Now, why, if there were 100 cop cars there, and they chased the guy over a guardrail, and I'm watching it as it happens, and I'm thinking, sheesh, oh boy, this guy's going to be ventilated like Swiss cheese. And no, that's not the case. Well, why is that? And, of course, some people said, well, it's because he was an ex-cop. I don't know about that. Does that really matter? Because now all they think of him as, I would think, is an alleged murderer. And they find his wife dead. So one would think that, I guess, they don't want to kill him so they can put him on trial? I don't know. I think it's an interesting question. Bo, you're on the air.
How you doing, Rick?
All right.
Hey, I was just going to add something else for Lady Jane. Since we're on the feel-good campaign, we might as well add name tags to ourselves with our address and Social Security numbers on them so everyone can say hi to each other.
Well, because that's the friendly thing to do.
Yeah, it would be, because remember, she was the brains behind the fact when she was county commissioner, she wanted to give everyone a $5,000 car in the inner city so that they can drive to work to get better jobs.
Oh, I do remember that now.
I remember that. Now,
yeah.
Remember, the county didn't have any problems when Lee Weingart was in there holding the dogs back on the spending. As soon as Lady Jane came in, the county was bankrupt. So when you had the 3 Democrats in there, you were losing money left and right all over the place.
Well, it sure has turned out to be an interesting administration so far. Oh, boy. Sweet Lady Jane. She looked like a deer in the headlights last time I saw her. She was over at OLA there in Tremont. And she got cornered by some lady who I guess wanted to talk her ear off, and you'd think she would have a handler that would shoo these people away.
Lady Jane.
Lady Jane Campbell.
when I see you again.
Yeah, well, I don't know when that'll be.
Your servant am I.
Public servant for all of us in the city of Cleveland.
And will humbly remain.
Well, we don't know if you'll humbly remain or not. That remains to be seen. You know what my complaint is? Just real fast here. Even under Boss White, there's only two things you got to do to make the common person happy. Two things you have to do to make the common person happy. Pick up my garbage and plow my street. And even under Boss White, my street got plowed. And under Lady Jane, it got plowed by the guy who does the parking lot up the street because it was 3 days later. Can you say one-termer?
Rick Gilmour.
I would love to just come on and call somebody a dickless moron.
Wow.
That
I think you
something like this.
I think you just did.
Oh, you didn't bleep that?
No.
Sorry there, Gilly.
Nope.
I got to go.
All right. Talk to you later.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
I was just sitting there listening to that Diamond commercial talking about macaroni. I bought something I haven't bought in a long time. I bought a can of beef-a-roni. They had like 2 for 1 or something. You know, they should call it Roni. I just open the can, eat it cold, just go through there with a spoon, try and dig out hopefully some macaroni with nary a whisper of beef in the beef-a-roni. They should call it not much beef-a-roni. Lots of roni.
Where's the beef?
I don't know where. Triple Doppler forecast from TV3's Eileen McShay. Today, showers and thunderstorms possible. It could be severe. Keep it here on the big one. High near 80. Tonight, more of the same. Low near 60. Currently, 77 degrees in Cleveland. 77. Yeah, just keep it here on the big one. Listen to baseball later, 8:05, and taking on the Rangers. And afterwards, our Indian beat reporter, Mark Schwab, will have extra innings and that sort of thing. And keep you occupied on this. Well, you ask and you shall receive. I have a police officer on the line. Bill, you're on the air.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
All right. Now, why didn't they...
Beef-a-roni treat you?
Well, no beef. All roni.
Okay.
Why didn't they kill this guy?
Well, I can tell you from experience how we are trained. I'm not a SWAT officer, so they get a little different. But any police officer, when you're engaged with an active shooter, if you have to employ your weapon, if you have to draw your weapon, you're only to fire if there is immediate threat to life, meaning if this guy has his weapon up and pointed at you or pointed at somebody else, and it looks like he's about to kill them or hurt them, then you have the go-ahead to go ahead and take his life. And if he's just sitting there with the gun in his hand and these guys approach him and he's not actively shooting or harming anyone, then you can't,
Well, they wounded him.
Okay, they wounded him.
I mean, do you have the right to wound them if they're just holding their gun and sitting there and not pointing it?
That would depend on circumstances. I mean, if he's been ordered time and again, they identify themselves as police officers, he's been ordered to drop his weapon. If he just stands there like a stone statue still holding his weapon, if the rules of engagement for the SWAT team are to disarm him any way they can, if they can put a bullet in him and make him drop that weapon, then that's what they do. But like I said, the rules of engagement are different in different circumstances, but for the most part, just often somebody, just because that takes a good set of circumstances.
I was just thinking about, remember that story about it was with Officer Simone was involved, remember when he got shot in the face, where they were chasing some guy who had a .357 and he's waving it around, and they killed him. And then the guy's brother, the perp's brother's on TV crying and saying that the cops went after him and the gun was not loaded. And I thought, that doesn't matter. That's almost like suicide by cop. You're waving around a gun whether it's loaded or not, and they tell you to drop it. You don't drop it, they're going to shoot you.
Yeah, I mean, we do not have the time or the ability to say, time out, sir, can we check your weapon to see if it's loaded before the officer fires? That's kind of a stupid way to operate, and unfortunately, every situation, you're going to get someone who always comes out of the woodwork and says, oh, the officers were not justified in the shooting. Well, based on the circumstances and the set of facts that they had at the time, I believe it was a justified shoot. I mean, if you're going to point a gun at me, I'm not going to try and peek down the barrel, see if there's a round in there. I'm going to go ahead and protect myself.
Yeah, I would assume that your job is to make sure you go home in one piece at the end of the day and put as many bad guys away as you can.
Exactly.
In that order.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to go home at the end of the day. So if somebody's waving a gun around, whether it's loaded or not, or whether it's a BB gun, and they can't tell by looking at it, well, you're going to get shot.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Not a problem, Rick.
All right, yeah. Dave, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Bill's right. You don't always have time, but they're not killers. Cops aren't killers. That's what they don't want to kill you. Even if you're pointing a gun at them, most cops still don't want to kill you. I'm not a cop. I do some bounty hunting, though. And it's just not as easy for a normal person to shoot another person.
Well, aside from that, I also heard that the percentage rate of cops hitting you under that type of duress is something like 26%.
Correct. It's a handgun. I don't know if you've ever fired a handgun.
Yes.
But even at a firing range, under the best possible conditions, you're still not perfect. And so you don't want to, if your life's in danger, you don't want to take that really small percentage shot, maybe hit him in the forehead, where you can take a higher percentage shot and hit him in the body.
I guess the perception I got from the media, from the television news, was that the SWAT team was in there training their high-powered rifles at this guy and just waiting to take him out, and that was not the case, apparently, and I do not know all the details, and for all we know, they wounded him because he was, who knows, squirrely and trying to run away, but had his gun in his hand, or who knows? I mean, I suppose all the details we'll probably never know.
No, we won't. But, again, they don't want to kill him. I know we hear a lot of bad things about the cops, and these guys are bad, and they always want to hurt these people, and they want to shoot people. They really don't.
All right, well...
They're family men, just like, you and I.
Yeah, I was not implying that they were killers. I just thought in a situation like that, you'd think that they'd be full of adrenaline, and there'd be 3 or 4 of them, and they'd empty their weapons.
Well...
And there'd be 100 holes in the guy,
That happens in New York, actually.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, okay. I take your word for it.
But...
All right, Dave, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. That happens in New York, and that's just the gang members. Not counting the cops. Well. Like I say, most of the details, I suppose, will remain sketchy for a while. Unless, of course, you ask Denise Tufala, and then she'll tell you all about it for 15 minutes. And use I and me and us and we more than you. Hasn't she ever heard of something called the U factor? More of your phone calls after these important words and coverage of what in the world's happening. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend. This is Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100. Sing along at home, or hum along at home, broadcasting live from the cultural void of Independence, Ohio. Isn't most of the culture in Cleveland on the east side, right by Case Western Reserve University? Probably.
The Rick Gilmour Show on News Radio WTAM 1100.
578-1100 in the classic 216 area code or toll-free 888-723-WTAM. Boy, a bunch of issues on the table, eh? What did you think of the media coverage, the wall-to-wall television coverage of yesterday's standoff at Case? Do you think they should have killed the guy? Do you think the cops should have just killed the guy? Well, let's face it. As they were dragging him out, they could have put a couple extra holes in him. It's not like he was an alleged murderer. I suppose he is still an alleged murderer until brought to justice. The problem is, this guy will end up dying in prison. He's 62 years old. Yeah, yesterday's coverage by the TV. He had white pants, he had black pants, he had camouflage pants. He's 52, he's 62, he's wearing a hood, he's wearing a helmet, he's wearing a wig, or he had his wig taped or glued to the top of his helmet.
Well, for my money, he's got all the facial characteristics of a criminal. You know, the narrow chin and the eyes close together and slack jaw with a prominent overbite.
Yeah, so shoot him. Take him out and shoot him. They put these people in prison. They linger. They linger forever. Wilford Berry, Alton Coleman. They lingered. It's one thing I can say for Bob the Jellyfish Taft, I guess, is that he's processing some of these prisoners better than Dick Celeste, who, just wanted them to hang around forever like they're living in a Holiday Inn on the public dole. We're paying for that. And complained about Mayor Campbell. I've been complaining about Mayor Campbell. I sum it up in the simplest of terms. I want my garbage picked up, and I want my street plowed. Weigh in on that as well. I'd like to know. I'm just curious. I would have to assume, knock on wood, that the snow is gone in Cleveland for the season. Just an interesting point to ponder. If you live in the city of Cleveland like I do, were your streets plowed as well as they were under Boss White? Mine wasn't plowed at all for 3 days. Some nice guy with a Jeep with a plow blade on it that did not have a city plate was plowing it out so we didn't have to slog through a foot of white stuff that was turning brown and gray from old age. I think she's a one-termer. Dave, you're on the air.
It's me, huh?
Yes, it's you.
I want to tell you, that was definitely a gag me to the spoon. I've been listening to you for a while with Stephanie Tubbs Jones. I wish she would just get lost after what she did in Congress last year about her tirade about she wanted to know what the cost of the war was going to be, and nobody in the room had any idea of how to tell her, but she went nuts, and she embarrassed the city. And then Mary, it's funny, Trevisano does, "Hello, my name is Jane." That is so true. Talk about an airhead. The thing that I resent, and I know you were against the war, I was for the action, but the point was, I'm from North Ridgeville, okay? I don't see how the city council of the city of Cleveland can vote for or against the war, and then, if I say I'm from Cleveland, you're city council. What is that all about?
I have no idea. When I saw that, I thought, I'm not running for any kind of office, and I have my opinions, and that's that. And if they're unpopular, well, then I guess they're unpopular, and I'm an unpopular guy for a while.
But the point of it is, see, they've got power that you and I don't have. That is, they are representing our city. And truthfully, it was their feelings, not necessarily their constituency, or maybe it did reflect their constituency. But the fact of the matter is, it was a vote about nothing, but to me, it's like, hey, you don't have a right to put the city of Cleveland proper and say, well, the city council is against the war. It just was so ditzy. I'm thinking, this is all these people have the time to do. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to go. But when I saw this photo op, and then this other caller that said about Denise DeFala, I happened to be on a trip with her to New York City one time, not with her personally. A whole group of us went, and she happened to be there. What a self-absorbed, I won't say the last word. But she was asking this poor guy who was sweating bullets because he was just released, and it was like nobody else was there, and she was trying to pin him down. The guy did a good job of ignoring her, but it was just, I don't know, it was pathetic.
No.
Bad situation. I'm sorry to take your time.
No, that's fine. I was going to mention to you, I walked in the studio, and because you mentioned embarrassing us as far as the city goes, because somebody said to me yesterday, oh boy, another black eye for the city of Cleveland because of what happened at Case, and I thought, well, wackos are...
No, that could happen to anybody.
Yeah,
that could happen to any place.
That's just a wacko. But when I walked in the studio, on the studio wall behind me, you can log onto the webcam at WTAM.com. I hope it doesn't show, but there's a poster that says Kucinich for president. Now, there's another guy who embarrassed the 10th District when he was babbling on about the war.
Well, I know, but if he had any sense of, you're absolutely right, if he had any sensibility about what he was saying, but the Department of Peace, the people in the Department of Defense can say, look, that's what we're really all about, is peace, even though they're inflicting war on people, but, it gets so convoluted, and I'm so tired of the whole process. But again, I see Stephanie, she flew in right from Washington because of this. Is that what I understand? Is that correct?
I guess that's what I didn't research where she came from, but I would have to assume.
I thought it was a Stephanie Tubbs bobblehead doll there. I really did, because her head was just going, and then Jane gets up there.
Jane had the sad face, too. Did you notice?
Oh, well, she's really good at... Oh.
Well, she only has two faces. Mayor Campbell has the happy face and the sad face.
Well, the other, I must give you one last one. She's going to put in a park. She's going to just cream from East 55th all the way through Edgewater. We're going to shut down the Port Authority and lose another 300 or 400 jobs. or 1,000 jobs. I don't know how many jobs, but it just seems like, well, it's so pretty. We want to have some place for the people to go down, like in Chicago, at lunchtime and walk around at the pier. Jane, if you don't get your head out of here, you know what? You're not going to have anybody down there because there's not going to be any jobs down there, to walk around at lunchtime.
Well, but Dave, and I thank you for checking in, Tiger. Trees make people happy. Remember that when the jobs go away. He's got the happy face and the sad face. And that's the two faces of Mayor Jane. Joe, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
That's good. To this last caller who was a self-appointed morality leader of one, he doesn't have a leg to stand on a lot of... So some of the things that he said, I shouldn't say doesn't have a leg to stand. Some of the things he had to say were valid. But there were a lot of city councils, first of all, sir, if you would take the vote and have time to go out and look, that were against this war and did symbolic votes because their constituency was also speaking out. There's a lot of people who are not for this particular war that we're engaged in, and we still don't know how long these guys are going to be over there for. I happen to have a family member who died in that ferry in the first Desert Storm. Now, if you wanted to get, it's one thing to be, out defending your country and whatnot, which is a great thing to be able to have an army that allows us to be able to say the things that we say, and represent us well. That's all good, but it's a heck of a thing to have to go to a funeral and there's no body there because he's lost over a particular situation that some people decided, no, these people don't have a right to do this or do that or do the other. And it just really gets on my nerves when you have some people who speak up and have, just all this great information and all this great wherewithal in their own mind that they know everything that's good for a community and everything else. If you think you know so much more, Mr. North Ridgefield, then why don't you move to Cleveland, run for mayor, or better yet, why don't you get on the ballot and run for Congress and see what you can do to help bring jobs and other stability and everything to the city of Cleveland and to this particular area.
Well, that's the best thing about Dennis Kucinich running for president. Good, let him run, let him give up his 10th district seat, and let somebody else take over. Dennis talks about he's always there. He's like a bobblehead doll, too. He's always there when people are losing their jobs, but I don't know as if many of them are coming back, are they? Always there to talk about the problem, but not the solution. The part that bothered me about the city of Cleveland and other cities saying that they were against the war, I think it was purely political. If you look at the city of Cleveland, what makeup is there on council of Republicans? 0? Nada? Nil? Zilch? Zip? Bupkis? So there's no representation on both sides. And so basically I think it's to come out and say that they were against the war. To what end? Does that mean that the president's going to change his mind? Don't you think you got the idea a long time ago that the president had his mind made up that we were going to Iraq, whether they found weapons of mass destruction or not, because guess what? They haven't found them yet. Because a couple of guys put them in their back pockets and trotted over to Syria. And I'm warning you, Syria, don't you be hiding terrorists. Christ, I could have told you Syria's been hiding terrorists for 50 years. More of your phone calls. After these important words on the big one.
Amir Rashid Muhammad Al-Uribi?
Go fish. Iraq's most wanted playing cards. Now on WTAM.com.
This is a university where people come to learn and come to grow and come to build hope and opportunity in their lives. And to have a tragedy of this magnitude happen here means that we all want to understand what exactly happened.
Rick Gilmore.
Oh, don't pay attention to Ray.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
No, that should say, oh, don't pay attention to Jane. That's the voice of Jane Campbell, talking in circles about, of course it's a tragedy. It'd be a tragedy if it happened anywhere. Or if it happened here and change.
This is a very serious situation, and we are on top of it.
Wow. You heard that right here on the big one. Spring storms and tornadoes can strike anytime. Get your official weather bullet. official... We'll edit that part out of the tape, and nobody will know the difference, right, Brian? Here are your official weather bulletins at once on your primary one emergency alert station. Boy, Rick gets paid to talk, huh? Primary one emergency alert station. All right, you get the idea. Your official weather station is us, News Radio, WTAM, 1100. Here's your triple Doppler forecast from TV3's Betsy Kling. Well, it's a pretty boring forecast, but you'll want to listen to it. Showers, thunderstorms, could be severe. High near 80, currently 77 degrees. Tonight, showers, thunderstorms, low near 60. Tomorrow, Mother's Day, windy. Showers, thunderstorms, and then tapering off to just showers in the afternoon with highs in the lower 70s. As the warm front pushes in with a cold front right behind it. Did you know it's 32 degrees in Denver, and they're talking about getting 6 inches of snow? The mile-high city. Wow. Oh. Mike, you're on the air.
Finally, Joe.
Yeah, I got busy around.
I'm a county commissioner with nothing to do and make huge money. I'm on a cell phone.
Are you?
Yes.
You are a county commissioner? Makes all kinds of money?
No, I wish I was. But that way I'd have tons of money and I'd have time to kill.
Yeah, Demora and the boys and their
don't forget Jimmy's out. Jane and Jimmy, they go way back, along with that other knucklehead. What's his name? He ran for governor against our proud Republican governor, Bobby.
Tax and spend Tim Hagan?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know, and everybody gets their bazillion-dollar buyout, and we have to have issue 15 to get more money.
While they're 45 years old, then go across the street and work for another government agency and start it all over again.
Never vote for the same person twice. That's my new motto.
And then supposedly we vote ourselves a tax increase.
Yeah, I know.
Why is nobody having a recall or demanding any type of a look into this? You got the power. Why don't you lead it? We'll support you.
We have a recall for issue 15
for issue 15, yes, please.
No. I'll think.
You know damn well there was some fraud committed here. Come on.
Well, the part that bothers me is that they try to frighten people into voting for something, and that's exactly what they did. Because
and then they call the opposition a bunch of liars, and that car thing was taken care of from our do-nothing mayor. But you know what? It doesn't bother me. She does nothing. We're in good hands with McGurk. He's a good man. But I don't appreciate Lady Jane speaking for us on the war issue number 1. That really toasted me. That upset me so much.
Yeah, well.
Do-nothing. The last commercial she did in support of issue 15. Did she look kind of funny to you? Like she was on something?
She was under heavy sedation.
Yes, she was, and I hope it was legalized and prescribed.
I don't know. Yeah, I did notice that. It looked kind of like...
I thought it was only me. I thought I'm going crazy. Well, they're driving me crazy.
Do you live in the city of Cleveland?
Yes, I do.
Were your streets as well plowed under Lady Jane as they were under Boss White?
I can't honestly say that.
Mine weren't.
It's hard to know its improvement. But you know what? In all fairness to them, we did have almost record snowfall, so I'm a pretty fair guy.
Yeah, all right.
So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. But that's about it. That's as far as I'll go with this bunch.
I hear your car dinging. That sounds like a Ford. Is that a Ford?
Yes, it is.
I'm very good with my dingers. I identified a Honda one night and a Ford today. And
yes, I'm a proud owner of.
That sounds like a Grand Marquis.
No, it's a big gas-guzzling F-250.
Oh, all right.
With a V10 Trident.
Wow. But they use the same ding-ding. They use the same dinging noise.
Yes.
All right.
And one more thing, Gil. I'm just calling to blow some steam because I'm so upset with this Democratic bunch. But Dennis Kucinich has got to go. Let him go to France. Let him run for president of France. Him and Jacques Chirac. Let them go together. They love each other. They hate this country. Let him get out. He's got to go.
Yeah, I believe you're right. And I got to go, too. John, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, this is John here out in Lakewood.
Yeah, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, well, you're not only are the politicians around Cleveland kind of weird, but what about that roof on that new $64 million building where that guy was... They commandeered yesterday. What's that about? That really, it says a lot about Cleveland.
Well, it was paid for by the president of Progressive Insurance.
Pardon me?
It was paid for by the president of Progressive Insurance.
Well, what's his problem? I mean, that's strictly schizo. I mean, that don't make any sense, that roof at all.
I figured the guy was shooting up the place because he was the one that had the ice fall on him the one winter because the thing doesn't have any gutters.
okay, that's all I want to talk about.
Well,
thank you.
All right. Yeah. Did you notice that? Because you got to see it for 7 hours yesterday. Did you notice how damned ugly that building is? It didn't look interesting to me. We have the damnedest idea in Cleveland about what's good architecture. Akron at least says Stan Hewitt or whatever. But you look at Cleveland, that building is hideous. Am I right or wrong? And also the free stamp. The free stamp. Yeah. Well, what the hell is that all about? Thanks, Claes Oldenburg. But some other city didn't want it. That's why we got it. But it wasn't free, and we had to pay for it. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. More your phone calls after these important words. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend, and this is Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Rick Gilmour.
She gets too hungry for dinner at 8. I offered an hors d'oeuvre. She took the whole plate. I told her don't swim till after an hour she ate. That's how the lady, she got cramps.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
She digs that cool, knockdown, laid-back, groovy wind in her hair. At the present, she's impecunious, but that's okay. And maybe we'll have a sing-along some night, or some afternoon. Maybe not. I remember the one program I did was the 4th of July. And all I did for 3 or 4 hours was have people call up and sing the Star-Spangled Banner. One of the more difficult songs to sing, right? And I remember walking into the newsroom and I had a big smile on my face. I thought it was an amusing program. And newsman Cliff Bakley looked at me and said, I don't know about this one, Rick. Well, here's the latest. The authorities say the suspect who killed one person and injured others during that 7-hour standoff had sued a school employee. The president of the university said the lawsuit filed by Biswanath Halder was over the contents of Halder's personal website. They declined to mention the name of the employee that Halder sued. A judge had dismissed the defamation claim, claiming that there was no merit. A subsequent appeal was dismissed last month, and they say Halder's a 62-year-old Cleveland resident who had received his master's degree from Case Western in 1999. Now, I just had a silly question. What the hell's he doing getting his master's degree at 62? The guy's probably a kook anyway. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with going back to school and that sort of thing. But some people are professional students. Best 17 years of college I ever had. And I think it's an excuse. I think it's an excuse to not just go out and get a real job. But I'm still in school. I'm getting my degree. How long does it take? Sheesh. Oh, boy. Tony, you're on the air. Are you with me there, Tiger? All right. Well, if you're not going to talk to me, I'm just going to hang up on you. Okay, bye-bye. Rich, you're on the air.
Okay.
Yeah, speak up, please.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
If this was the University of Beirut, they would report how many American hostages there were. How many American hostages were in this building?
Well, gee, you think they're all exchange students?
Well, I don't know. I have no idea. Does
it matter?
They didn't report. It doesn't.
Does it matter?
Well, yeah, it matters to me. I'd like to know how many Americans are in there.
Oh, so you want to know how many the people were American?
How many hostages were American?
And how many were imports?
Well, whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't understand. Do you think that had something to do with the guy's reasoning?
No, absolutely not. It only has to do with the political climate in the world today.
Oh, I see it. You're just curious.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, they talked about everything else.
I mean, there were 100 hostages or whatever the number was. Were 12 of them Americans? Why did all our money go? Why did all our SWAT money from Euclid and these other suburbs and the FBI go to rescue all these foreign hostages? Could we get that money back from these other countries?
Oh, I think that if you're going to school on a visa in this country, that you have the right to be protected.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
we're talking about students here.
Grenada? How about all those medical students in Grenada?
So you're not going to be happy no matter what?
Well, I'm not a happy guy anyhow.
No, I was thinking about that because we complain about politics and politicians all the time, and I thought, do you think it much matters who gets elected? We'll still be complaining about them.
I would protect anybody. I'm an ex-Marine, and I would protect anybody anywhere if I could now.
So what about my last question?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your last question.
Oh, I was talking to you. I asked you, I said, don't you think that people would be unhappy no matter who they elect? As far as we were talking politicians earlier and politics, and it doesn't matter who gets elected, we're complaining.
Well, nobody can make everybody happy, obviously.
Well, I mean, I think that the reason we have the two political parties is that we're nothing but chimpanzees that are taller and have less hair. Look at the people that go at it in England. You know, the people arguing in Parliament, and they argue like a bunch of 6-year-olds on crack.
I'm not sure I understand that statement.
I didn't think so. Are you drying something? I hear a dryer in the background.
Yeah, matter of fact, I am. You want me to close? Never mind.
No, it doesn't bother me. I was thinking, are you in the basement?
Yeah, Huh?
Are you?
No.
Oh, you have your dryer on the main floor.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I always wanted that because I have to cart my clothes down the basement and then cart them back. Doesn't it?
I don't have any steps here.
Doesn't it always seem kind of funny that when you take clothes down and you do a load of wash, that there's 3 times more clothes when you have to walk back up the stairs? It's like, what happened to this stuff? Did it all grow?
You know what? It puffs up.
Yeah, except for the
It's like a newspaper.
Well, it puffs up, but then there's always the missing sock, too.
I know where that sock's at. I have it at my house.
Yeah, you're the one. You've got my sock.
Yeah, and you probably have a couple of mine.
Well, I might, but I'm not giving them back because now I have a red sock and a blue sock because I lost one of my white socks, and so I don't know what to do.
Well, quit drying your clothes. Wear them wet.
Or wear them like the Brit or the Europeans do. You ever seen pictures of Germany and whatnot in France? They hang all their clothes out to air them out because this goes back to the days that they did not want to wear out the fabric by washing them because they used to wash them against rocks or stuff. So now they just wear them for a day and then air them out for a day and then wear them again.
They wear them for a week.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, they don't even have...
That's why the French stink.
Well, the French stink, but the Germans stink too.
Oh, certainly. I was over there.
Why do you think our ancestors came here?
To get away from the BO.
I mean, my ancestors...
We had right guard here.
Yeah, we had roll on. My ancestors were so dumb, they planted the whole potato instead of just the eye. And you know how the Irish overcooking is. They wanted to come here and get a good meal.
Boy, you got me there.
Wow, well, that's what you get for having the missing sock. What kind of, is that a Kenmore dryer?
I don't even know what it is.
You don't know what brand of dryer you own?
No, I just rent here. I rent the house.
I see. So you're renting a house with no steps.
Yeah.
There's are there front steps to walk in, or?
Well, I think there's a stoop here. If I ever opened the front door, I would know that.
Oh, so you don't sit out on the stoop and have a beer on a nice hot summer day or anything?
No.
Oh. Well, I like to sit out on my porch in the evening, listen to the tribe on the big one, and have an occasional cold one. You should get out more. You're stuck in the laundry room.
I'm stuck next to the laundry room.
I see.
Yeah, kind of like in the kitchen where I have my dog.
I was just gonna ask you, do you have any pets?
Yeah, I have a dog.
Then they let you have a dog where you rent.
Certainly they would let me have a dog.
Well, some places...
I wouldn't live here if I couldn't have a dog.
Some places they tell you no pets.
He's a beautiful dog.
What kind of dog?
English Bull Terrier.
Oh, yeah, like Patton had.
Yeah, right.
Like a Staffordshire Terrier, that sort of...
Well, they're cousins, but they're distinct. But he's not white.
Oh, yeah, brindle color?
Yeah, he's brindle.
Yeah.
Brindle and white. He's got some white.
Yeah, I know. I saw him when I came over to your house to get those other 2 socks.
You know what? He hates those socks.
I kind of like them. It worked out for me. They're different colors, but that's okay. I don't mind.
Well, he doesn't care.
No, and guys can get away with that. And you know what's funny? I can take off the dirtiest clothes in the world, and I just throw them on my living room floor before I put them in the hamper. I just throw them on the floor, and I get in the shower, and I come out, and there's my dog laying with her head on my dirty clothes. What is it, because it smells like Daddy?
Exactly. That's exactly what they do. If I put my clothes on the bed, he goes on the bed and he lays on my clothes.
Yeah, it's like if I'm sleeping on the couch and I get up, the next thing I know, I go to the bathroom, I come back, there's the dog laying where I sleep on the couch.
Unfortunately, my dog ate the couch.
Oh, see, my dog doesn't eat any furniture. That's a good thing, but she'll eat...
When I first got him, he was like abandoned and abused. I got him from a rescue society in Virginia, and... the first day I had him, he ate my couch.
Yeah, my dog was abused as well, and the second day I had my dog, she ate all the door frame and broke a second-story window trying to jump out to follow me. And she tore up a whole bunch of carpeting, too. You all right there?
I'm sorry, that's terrible.
Yeah, well, it was my landlord that gave me the dog. And so I said to the landlord, I'm not paying for the damage the dog did because you gave me the dog, and if you had the dog for a month and you ever left that dog alone, you know that dog's got separation anxiety. And he said, well, maybe she chewed a little bit, but a little bit, she ripped over a foot of door molding off.
Matter of fact, I think...
You're not dying on me.
A couple years ago, you told me that. You told that story on the radio.
Yeah, I tell stories. I tell them a lot.
Yeah.
I repeat myself. You know, repetition is the mother of all talk radio.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know. Repetition is the mother of all talk radio. Did you know that? Did I ever tell you the story about my dog tearing up the door frame?
Not lately.
Or how about the one about when I brought my dog to work and she dropped anchor in the hallway and my ex-wife had to pick it up with a coffee filter? Never heard that one?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm probably working that night.
I got all kinds of other people want to talk to me, but I appreciate you talking about socks. All right?
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. Good talking to you, too. Yeah. Wow. That's okay. It's a good exercise sometimes to see if you can get any kind of information or entertainment. But I thought I was pretty good with the dryer thing there, didn't you? Oh, or your phone calls after these important words on the big one.
Rick Gilmour.
The old saying was run, Jesse, run.
Yeah.
The new one is pull out, Jesse, pull out.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
You know, in that Iraqi deck of cards, I'm the 7.5 of clubs. Yeah. Listen to the Tribe Fan Fact during extra innings with Kevin Keene, and then listen to win Indians tickets the next morning on Wills and Coleman in the morning. How about that? There's still some great seats available for the 2003 season. Just call 216-420-HITS. Your home of the Indians, News Radio, WTAM 1100 will be taking on the Rangers. Starts at 8:05 tonight. And we'll probably win. Anaheim, that's another story. They bought their championship. How about that? They did it like Wayne Huizenga. You know that one guy, though. What's his name? David Eckstein? Eckstein? Is it Eckstein or Eckstein? Brian, turn on your... Eckstein. That guy's unbelievable, isn't he?
He's all right.
What is he, about 23?
Yeah, he's young.
Very young. I was watching that guy, how intimidating he looks when he comes to the plate. I was thinking, gee, you want to pitch to him? He looks like he'd come out there, tear your head off, and poop down your neck. Triple apple forecast from TV3's Betsy Kling. Well, here it is. Thunderstorms coming. Some could be severe with a high near 80 tonight. More thunderstorms, low near 60. Tomorrow, windy for Mom's Day. Windy and more storms. Should be just showers in the afternoon. Lower 70s. Currently 77 degrees in Cleveland. 77. Eric, you're on the air. Hello, Eric.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
All right.
Hey, I called you a few weeks ago. I don't know if you remember, but you had your lawyer guy on.
Oh, my attorney, Skip Lazaro. Yes, sir.
Tim. And we were talking about my bipolar wife. And
she has sex with bears?
Yes.
Oh, no, that's not what what bipolar means, that she's got some mental illness.
She's got some major issues.
Oh, okay. Is she getting any better?
No.
Is she on is she on medication?
Yes.
Okay. And she's still not getting better?
No. It just every other month is a different situation. And you had your lawyer on, and I was going to talk to you, and I got cut off right when you guys were talking.
Was it a long, boring dissertation?
I don't think it was, because you were laughing at the end of it.
Oh, okay. Well, what's your issue today?
Oh, I thought you might have remembered what you were laughing about.
I have no clue.
Oh.
That goes back a ways. This stuff all runs together when you do it. It's hard to remember one phone caller from another. I do recall you calling. I don't recall what the conversation was about.
Well, what is your opinion then?
If I were you, I'd trade her in for a newer model. There, see, I laughed at the end of that one, too. Tony, you're on the air.
How are you?
All right.
I waited a long time, so give me a few minutes.
Well, I went to you the last time, and you weren't there.
I got cut off by the telephone company. I didn't get cut off. I waited for you because you're the best.
I think it was the FBI.
I want to get you on Saturday mornings, but I got 3 things I want. Only you'll get it done, okay?
Well, let me get a pen and write this down now.
And the Democrats will not like this. I want, when you vote, like in Florida, they have these phony dead people voting, you will be fingerprinted. I want you to have that because you can get things done with these politicians. The second thing, welfare. When you have a kid and you go on welfare, you bring daddy. They should have done this 40 years ago. You wouldn't have the problem in schools you have today. You bring daddy, otherwise you don't get any welfare, Rick. Third thing...
But wait, what if you can't find daddy?
Well, then you get nothing then. You got to know who planted your seed. You know, it's not garden time.
That's true, and you know what they say. It's better to spill your seed into the belly of a whore than on a rock.
Yeah. But Clinton
it says that in the Bible.
Votes, you know, you don't have... Anybody could knock you up, and then, you know, they don't know who knocked you up.
Yeah.
Anyway, the third, I want cameras in the school, and you won't have these problems. You had South High, and he's up.
Sir, you can't use that kind of language. That's the word that everybody gets all worked up and has to drop that one. Here he is complaining about the government.
Government do take a bite, don't you?
The government did take a bite, yep. But you can't say that word on the radio. I'm so sorry. I was just thinking, I wonder what's going to happen with universities and the security they have. I mean, in case they had a door card, apparently it was reported that you had to have a key card to get in the door. And that this guy didn't need a key card. He just either kicked or shot his way through the door and went in. Have you been to a courthouse lately? I'm trying to walk into the Rocky River built a brand new courthouse. I don't know what they're going to do with the old one. It was kind of quaint in a way, but it was too small, I guess. And so the new one, I was told that you have to be patted down. They wand you, and they metal detect you, and they this detect you, and that detect you, and they'll pat you down to make sure you don't have anything on you. Now, can you imagine what the security is going to be like? At universities and colleges across the country when things like this happen? And, of course, like all Americans, what we do, we panic for a while, right? And then give it a month or 2 months or something like that, and then it's back to sort of like business as usual. Maybe not entirely business as usual, but sort of like business as usual. And then the security will become a little more lax, and a little more lax, and a little more lax. And then something bad will happen. And then we do it all over again. Just like going to the airport. Nobody wants to not be able to park. Nobody wants to have to wait too long. It's the American way. Hurry, hurry, hurry. More of your phone calls, more of the program after these important words. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend. Keep it right here. Coverage of what in the world's happening is a-coming. This is Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100. One headlight by the Wallflowers. People once in a while email or call. What's the name of that theme music? One headlight by the Wallflowers. There, now you know. Open phones this hour.
No more Yankee, my Winky.
1100.
Phone number here, 578-1100 in the 216 area code, toll free, 888-723-WTAM. Little of this, little of that. I got a pile of news stories in front of me, too. Get to them. Joe Ray in Alaska, you're on the air.
Good morning, my friend.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
Oh, just great. How's everything up there in the frontier state?
Things are finally getting pretty nice and balmy. Our trees are starting to hint of a little budding action, and the river is starting to fill up with nice big fat salmon.
Is that what it says on the license plates? The last frontier.
You got it.
I'd like to go up there. I took a Caribbean cruise once, and I thought, I was told that they have Alaskan cruises that are really beautiful.
Well, if you want to hang around with a bunch of old people, you can probably go to Alaska Cruise, but if you really want to experience Alaska, I usually recommend people go out to Seattle or go out to Prince Rupert, B.C., and then hop on the Alaskan Ferry. Now, the Alaskan Ferry system, it's called the Alaska Marine Highway now. It is fabulous ships, all American-made ships that are ocean-capable with all-American crews. And granted, they don't have many beauty parlors aboard our ships, but on the other hand, the scenery, the quality of experience that you'll experience is just fabulous.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because the cruise ship I was on was of Algerian registry. Does that sound right?
Sure.
And they do that, I guess, for some sort of tax-exempt purposes or some such
thing. And also for liability purposes. Tried to sue that ship company in Algeria.
Well, and then the entire crew, as far as the captain and those people, it was a Greek-owned shipping line.
Sure.
And then everybody else was from all over the world, nary a whisper of Americans. I mean, not the guests were Americans, but I'm saying like the waiters, the people that turn down your bed at night, that sort of thing. They were from Honduras. They were from all over the place. And I thought, geez, no wonder some of these guys seemed a little light in their loafers. No wonder there's AIDS spreading everywhere.
Well, I can tell you that Alaska, our marine highway system, is run strictly by Alaskan employees, Alaskan residents, and it's a great quality. I mean, a lot of times you'll have fathers that will be working on the ship, and their daughters will be working on the ship, and their grandfather worked on the ship, and et cetera, et cetera. It's a real pride-filled profession. What I was calling you about was I had to give my 2 cents worth in about this matter in Peter Lewis's building.
Yeah, the building with the ugly roof.
Yeah, I saw that building. I was in town over Easter. That was a pretty neat-looking building.
Yeah, just the aerial shots are pretty ugly.
Yeah, it is. It looks like something out of The Wizard of Oz, I guess. I hope that we don't have, and I'm going to put 2 cents worth in here, I hope that we don't have, just because you have one flaming crazy guy, now that all of a sudden security is going to be upped at every building and you're going to have armed guards. So that is not the lifestyle that we want. You know, here in Alaska where I live, believe it or not, my courthouse, which is a brand new courthouse, doesn't have any guards, doesn't have any doors locked, unless you show your ID. I mean, it's an open place where people are intended to go and settle disputes. And if you have to fear that you're going to be wanded or probed every time you go in, that's not a free experience.
Yeah, but I think it's a little different in Alaska than it is in some urban areas down here in the lower 48, don't you think?
Well, look at University. Look at the University Center over there. That place has been operating for years and years and years, fairly independently. Now, I know they do have an adequate security force there, but my point is I don't want to see all of a sudden it be turned into an extremely difficult area to access. Second of all, when I was in town, I noticed that building did have limitations on it. In fact, when I drove by it, I wanted to go in the building and take a look around. And there were signs on the building that said, unless you are in the business school or have an appointment there, don't bother coming in. I mean, it didn't say don't bother coming in, but it said, you won't be, there's not free admission into the school. You can't freely walk through it like you could, Cleveland State or something like that.
Well, even Cleveland State, there's a lot of buildings where you got to have somebody let you in, or you got to have a key card, or, they lock them up at night.
Yeah, and I find it kind of interesting that this guy, the only time he actually killed somebody was when he was trying to get into the building. So, again, I just hate to see that. I still live in an area over here where we don't have, I don't even have metal detectors at our airport. I don't like to say that because I don't want to invite people up here. But on the other hand, many of the towns here in Alaska don't have metal detectors because it's just not practical. And we have our DC-9s and our prop jets that fly in there all the time.
Is Alaska a state where you have the right to carry a concealed weapon?
Concealed weapon?
You can carry it a sidearm right on your side?
Sure.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was just thinking, isn't it interesting that, and now I know the population's different and all that, but why is it you don't hear about school shootings and whatnot in places like Texas?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily that. I think it's the quality of people that we have up here. We get a lot of shootings up here. When people are drunk up here, I think it coincides that the three places you're not allowed to take a gun in Alaska is into the courthouses, into the banks, and to the bars. And there's a reason for that.
Well, plus you don't have enough women.
Yeah, that kind of works on it. But we do have a lot of huskies.
Oh, I see. And a lot of heavy drinking.
Yes, that's our number one sport in the wintertime for some people.
Throw another dog on the fire.
Well, no, come on now. We won't necessarily throw a dog on the fire, but...
No, but I mean a log, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I just wanted to put my 2 cents worth in. I hope you have a great time, and, you're invited up here to come join us for some salmon fishing one of these days if you ever get a chance.
Sounds great.
God bless you.
All right, you too. Yeah, I'd love to go to Alaska, walk around up there. I was warned, though. Apparently, and I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody said they share women because there aren't enough of them to go around. I thought, well, that sounds like a good way to have shootings and too much drinking and all that sort of thing. And I also hear that they pay you to live in Alaska. Every year they give you some money because you stayed. And I also heard that if you go up there in the summertime, the black flies will kill you. And they're huge and they'll bite you all over the place. Paul, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, speak up, please.
Now.
Yeah, talking that part with the little holes in it.
This is Paul. That's who I'm talking to.
Well, I can barely hear you.
Well, I don't know, but turn up your phone.
I'll turn up my headphones. All right, there you go.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about the counties in Ohio.
About the what?
The counties and the county.
Oh, counties. I thought you said carnies, like carnival workers. Oh, counties.
Yeah, counties in Ohio.
What about the counties?
We have too many of them, 88 of them, and we have 88 counties with commissioners, and every one of them's got 4 or 5 commissioners.
And we've got 88 counties with them bicentennial bells, too.
Huh?
Bicentennial bells.
That's right.
Yeah.
They want to knock, the county commissioners keep track of all the money, and they waste it.
Well, they're probably crooked.
Huh?
They're probably crooked.
Well,
do you have one of those tin horns you can put up to your ear?
No, I don't have it. I think my phone is a little bit screwy here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this phone is not too swift.
Does it still have a dial on it?
No, it's a regular old red telephone like the president's.
Oh, I see. So, but it's got push buttons.
Right.
Okay, I thought maybe it had a dial on it.
No. But they should do something about these commissioners.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we ought to just can them all.
Can them all, that's right.
Never vote for anybody twice there, Paul.
They're already ready to redo
the what?
15. Amendment to 15. They want to re-amend it. The commissioners.
Oh, I see. Well, all right. Well, thanks for checking in there, Tiger.
Hey, I guess they're right. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose.
Yep. I'm too polite sometimes. More of your phone calls after these important words on the big one.
Rick Gilmore.
The media darling.
On News Radio WTAM 1100.
Yeah, the fascinating thing about the gunman case was the media coverage. Boy, it was wall-to-wall for 7 hours. You can always tell when people come from... As television people, you can always tell whether they've come from radio. Because when the teleprompter's off and they don't have anything to say, they probably did not do radio. I never sit here with a script in front of me, so you can always just tell those TV people that if they can just keep going with nothing written in front of them, they probably did radio. My friend Brad Sussman can do that because he did radio before he did TV weather. Hey, you're on the air.
Yeah, Rick.
Yeah, all I got up here is Illyria. That's not your name.
Tom.
Tom, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about the coverage. It started at 4 o'clock. It'll ended at 11:30. I think they interviewed everybody on the street, the mayor, a spokesman for the college. I think they even interviewed the dog that was down there. I mean, it was just ridiculous. There was nothing on TV but that, and they didn't cover anything.
And it was also ridiculous. Yes.
Looking at a building, we get to see some SWAT teams go in. I mean, it was just absolutely, totally ridiculous to have that kind of coverage, which is probably one of the reasons that guy went in the building and shot somebody in the first place, was to get all that coverage.
Well, and it was also ridiculous when they kept moving, the police kept moving these people back, and the news people, they're standing there, oh, the police are moving us back. Well, how close do you want to get anyway, and what can you say that we don't already know?
Yeah, well, how about that guy, the one student that was in the building, and then he came out, and all of a sudden he was inundated with every news media microphones in his face, all asking questions at the same time, the most ridiculous questions you ever wanted to hear. These people were unbelievable. I think they have nothing better to do.
Well, like I said earlier, they're all champing at the bit to be right there, the one right there when something happens. When they get the gunman, they want to be the first one. And I think you could probably cut away from the coverage and cut back when that happens and just be the first one to cut back.
They could have gone, told us this is happening, it's terrible, blah, 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 an hour, go to the other news, the other programming, and then come back later on and let us know in about 3 hours how it's progressed for 15 minutes. Then get away and let us enjoy the evening.
Amen and hallelujah. I couldn't agree with you more. What upsets me, too, is I like to watch, I do not have cable. So I like to watch the, World News Tonight, CBS Evening News, NBC News with Tom Brokaw, NBC News. I'll see you tomorrow. And I like to watch those, and they preempted that. Well, I wanted some news of the world as well. There are other things going on, like our cyber vote at WTAM.com. Now, this is a strange question. No wonder it's almost 50-50. Would Scott Peterson have been charged with double homicide if Lacey was only in her first trimester? 47% yes, 53% no. Well, I'm not even going down that road, because that sounds like the abortion argument, which I think there's no argument over, because, and I'll just say that, I am not a woman. So I can't tell other people what to do with their body, and I'm not going to entertain phone calls about it either. Triple Doppler forecast from TV3's Betsy Kling. We got a flash flood warning until 9 o'clock. Showers, thunderstorms are coming. Some could be heavy. High near 80, currently 76 degrees. I think we probably won't make 80. I think that warm front that moved through 77 about topped it out today. Tonight, more of the same weather with lows near 60. Let's look ahead to Mother's Day, shall we? Sure. Mom, if you're listening, happy Mother's Day. A little early, but that's all right. I can say it more than once. Tomorrow, more thunderstorms in the morning, then showers in the afternoon, highs in the lower 70s. Currently 76 degrees in Cleveland. 76. Jim, you're on the big one.
Hey, Rick, how are you?
All right.
Just want to add, your last caller, he hit it right on the head. It was just horrible. But you know what I got a kick of? Was when the mayor came out, and, she just...
Hello? Hello, did I lose you?
No, are you there?
Oh, okay. Are you on a cell phone? It sounds like you broke up.
Yeah. Did you see who was with her in the press conference? Stephanie Tubbs Jones.
Yes.
Now, what the hell did she have to be there for? Election time?
Try to get her mug on TV?
Exactly. It must be election time. What? She needed to be there like we need a hole in the head.
Did she even say anything? I didn't even see her say anything.
No, she didn't say a word.
Okay, so I didn't miss anything.
They interviewed the president of Case, which is his show basically. And
right.
He did a fine job. And then the mayor comes on, but what Stephanie Tubbs Jones wanted to be there for is clueless, and it just added to the circus that was down there.
Well, why does Jesse Jackson show up all the time wherever he is, and why does Dennis Kucinich show up all the time wherever he is? They're just trying to keep their mugs out there so you don't forget who they are.
You're right. Oh, it was terrible. I don't want to say it was a black eye, but it just shows the quality of news coverage we have in the city. It was not one of the better times, and not knocking them because they've done a fine job and a lot of other things. But last night was terrible. So,
yeah, you're absolutely right. Boy, have you ever... I want to talk to my producer for a second. Brian, have you ever seen... I just looked out the window, and I saw what looked like a hawk or a falcon or some bird that looked like it had a 6-foot wingspan. Have you seen that? It looked like a bald eagle, but without the...
No, I haven't seen it.
And it flew up...
Sometimes birds fly right up to the window.
No, I mean this thing had to have a 6-foot at least wingspan, and I saw it fly up, and there it is out there. See it? Take a look out the window. That thing, I mean, maybe it's...
Oh, that's Sky Chief.
No, it's a bird, but it's an awfully big bird, and I saw it landing, and I'm thinking, gee, I didn't wait till it gets up closer. I know no one listening at home has any idea what I'm talking about, but I don't know what kind of bird this thing is. It looks like a bald eagle, except that it's all brown, and it's got a huge wingspan, and I saw it looked like it landed on the roof. I wonder if it lives up there. But it was just one big bird. I guess it's going around looking for food or something, because it keeps going around in circles. But an amazing thing to see while you're sitting in Independence. Although that's not hard to believe. I drive up the road, and we've got one of those industrial parks with the pond for the ducks. Yeah. And there's ducks sitting in puddles in the middle of the road. Now, no wonder sometimes you drive up at night and you go, what the hell is... Oh, it's a dead duck. They get run over once in a while. I'll have to come down here around Thanksgiving time and hit one and take it home and pluck it and serve it up. Joey, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey, I just want to echo what everybody's been saying about the news coverage. It definitely wasn't the finest moment, but the one thing that I haven't heard mentioned, no one covered the fact that a UFO crash landed on top of that building.
Now, when was that?
You didn't see it?
You mean just the ugly building?
Well, it wasn't that a UFO that crash landed on top of that thing?
I have no idea. When did that happen?
Sometime before the news cameras got there.
Okay, well, I'll have to check into that one. Yeah, right. Is it me? I mean, am I the only person that attracts these people? Like the guy that called and said, remember the space aliens kept the lights on for us during Y2K? Yeah.
Someone just called and said, hey, city boy, it's a buzzard.
Oh, is it a buzzard? Well, I thought buzzards were ugly-looking things. This isn't an ugly-looking buzzard. It shows what I know. Shows what I get for living in the inner city. We don't have buzzards. We have pigeon. You can call them squab if you want, I guess, or something. Is a squab like a pigeon? Something like that. We have all kinds of dirty birds that leave purple spots all over my car. We have one squirrel. We have no rabbits. We have a whole bunch of ugly-looking possum. One less now, thanks to my dog. And 1 million dogs. And I mean 1 million dogs. I got the Bumpus hounds next door, 2 more hounds behind them, hounds across the street. One dog barks, the whole neighborhood's barking. More of your phone calls after these important words and coverage of what in the world's happening on Cleveland's only news radio. I'm Rick Gilmour, the thinking man's friend, and this is WTAM 1100.
Cleveland's only news radio. Your official weather station. The home of the Indians, Cavaliers, and Browns fans. This is the big one. Now, continuing coverage on News Radio, WTAM 1100, Cleveland.
Police will charge a former student and employee with yesterday's deadly standoff at Case. Good afternoon, I'm Judy Thompson, and this is the 3 o'clock report on News Radio WTAM 1100. Details coming up. Channel 3 Triple Doppler weather. Here's Eileen McShay.
Showers and thunderstorms today, possibly severe with high temperatures near 80. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms, lows near 60.
Currently 77 degrees at your official weather station, News Radio WTAM 1100.
This is in-depth team coverage.
He kind of looked around as he was going in, but I don't know that he necessarily saw me. I turned around to make sure somebody was calling security.
Jennifer Gowans, a student at Case Western Reserve, describes the ordeal that began when a gunman entered the Peter B. Lewis building on the campus around 4 Friday afternoon and started shooting. The shooting claimed the life of 30-year-old graduate student Norman Wallace of Youngstown. After 6 hours, the suspect was wounded and taken into custody. More information now on the man who's accused of terrorizing the Case campus yesterday. Ken Robinson has our team coverage.
Cleveland investigators have identified the gunman as 62-year-old Biswanath Halder. Chief Edward Lone says Halder was wounded during the standoff and was heavily armed.
He was carrying a Corey
M11 semi-automatic pistol. He also had a Ruger semi-automatic pistol. These are 9mm.
Investigators say Halder, a Cleveland resident, had received his master's degree from Case in 1999 and was a former employee. Ken Robinson, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Case officials have identified one of those injured by the gunman as a student. They say graduate student Argun Satsioglu was wounded in yesterday's siege. No word on his condition. Graduation is scheduled for next week at Case, and President Edward Hundert says it will go forward.
My hope is that our commencement is going to be a reminder to everybody, as I think most of us were saying late into the night. You know, it's times like this when you want to go home and hug your own kids a lot more.
In other news today, a jury says the police chief in Brunswick Hills is guilty of driving while intoxicated. He'll be sentenced later. Township trustees say they will meet soon to consider Robert Osecki's employment. 3 men are dead after their car apparently slid under a semi on West 130th near the 480 entrance ramp. Brook Park police are investigating. President Bush has issued a disaster declaration in tornado-ravaged Oklahoma, clearing the way for federal aid. The Oklahoma City area was hit last night by its second tornado in 2 days. Utility officials say 13,000 customers are without power. Last night's tornado injured 5 people, 1 critically. An emergency services spokesman says the low number of injuries is unbelievable when you look at the pictures. President Bush has urged those who listen to his weekly radio address to press their lawmakers for a larger tax cut. The Senate plans to open debate Monday on a bill that would cut taxes by $350 billion through 2013. That's less than half of what President Bush wanted. New Jersey Governor James McGreevey says the tax cuts sought by President Bush would damage state budgets. In the Democrats' weekly radio address, McGreevey says every dollar states are in the red is a dollar they can't invest in the economy, schools, and bridges. Channel 3 Triple Doppler weather is next. It's 3:04 at News Radio, WTAM 1100.
2020 sports. Indians and Rangers square off again tonight in Arlington. It'll be C.C. Sabathia on the mound. Game time 8:05 right here on the big one. Last night, Tribe unleashed a season-high 16-hit attack. They bounced the Rangers 9-5 to snap a 9-game road losing streak. NBA playoffs tonight. Pistons invade the Sixers. Kings host the Mavericks, but they'll be without Chris Webber for the rest of the playoffs with torn cartilage in his left knee. Mark Tromba, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
I'm Johnny Caraba, and backed by popular demand for your Mother's Day listening pleasure, my uncle, Mr. Damian Mandola.
Hey, Mama Mia, Mother's Day is here. Bring your mama to Carrabba's to celebrate this year. Hey, Mama Mia, she'll shed a joyful tear when your mama's at Carrabba's. She'll know you hold her dear. So bring her to our kitchen, flames dancing in the air. Feel the love around you, show mama that you care.
Nobody does more for you than your mom.
You said it, JC.
So treat her special this Mother's Day at Carrabba's Italian Grill with favorites like chicken marsala and garlic mashed potatoes.
And this Mother's Day, we open early at 11 a.m. Sing with me, Johnny. Hey, Mama Mia, for Mother's Day this year, bring your mama to Carrabba's. Say the word she longs to hear.
Happy Mother's Day from Carrabba's.
We open early at 11 a.m.
Cleveland's fastest, most powerful triple Doppler radar. Accurate, in-depth team storm coverage. Your official weather station. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Channel 3 Triple Doppler weather. Here's Eileen McShay.
Showers and thunderstorms on the way today. Severe thunderstorms at times. Temperatures near 80 for a high. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms. Lows near 60. And then for tomorrow, morning showers and thunderstorms. Showers by afternoon. High temperatures lower 70s. On Lake Erie today, southeasterly winds 10 to 20 knots, wave heights 1 to 3 feet, and the water temperature is 54.
At your official weather station, cloudy skies and 77 degrees. I'm Judy Thompson on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the bottom of the hour. Bulletins at 1. News Radio, WTAM 1100.